So I have some very important news. The title of this video may give it away, but I am going to be a Mountaineer girl dad. Yes, very excited to announce that my wife Natalie and I are having a little girl this upcoming September. I know, great, terrible timing, right? Tried to plan that a little bit better to have this baby a little bit sooner than September 4th, the due date. Arguably, maybe like couldn't have planned that any more challenging with the Penn State game being on August 31st and then 10 days later being the backyard brawl down in Pittsburgh. So, ah, couldn't have done any worse with that timing. So if September's videos for all of that time, even into October probably, are a little bit rough here and there, you know why. It's probably because I'm dealing with a little bit less sleep than I am accustomed to. But I am very excited. My wife is very excited. That's the first thing that comes up when we talk with our family and friends is, oh, well, what are you going to do about the Penn State game? That September 4th is the due date. And like the jokes that my family and friends have been talking about, perhaps having the baby over at Ruby, and if the baby comes early, then I could just walk across the parking lot while the game's going on Saturday, August 31st. But all in good fun. I'm very excited. But I didn't want this video really to be all about myself and my family. I want this video to also be about you because I need some tips. I will have to say it's really been within the last probably 7-8 years since my little nephew and niece have been born and really started to develop a good uncle relationship with them and getting to play with them more and get to learn more of the tendencies and things of that nature with little boys and little girls that I have now felt like I've reached a point where I feel like, all right, let's do this. Let's have kids. Let's be parents because I've never changed a diaper once in my life. I don't really know much about, taking care of little babies. So it's a very exciting but nerve-wracking time at the same time, all trying to coincide with what could be West Virginia's biggest football season of the last 5-6 years. So it's very funny to say. But what I want to ask, really the topic of this conversation for tonight's video is, what are some tips that you have for me? And you can leave your comments here on YouTube, and I'd really, really appreciate it. What are some tips that you have for me for raising a little girl Mountaineer fan? Because I need some help. I would say that, the relationship and bond that I have with my father and the fact that this is a day after Father's Day, I want to say, happy belated Father's Day to all of the fathers out there, or even I'll go and say father figures, because even if you're an uncle or a cousin or just an overall mentor to someone who, a little kid, that means the world. You're really doing God's work out there. So what you are trying to do to bring them up in the fandom of WVU athletics, I commend you. And if we were having a son, I think I got this. I think I understand it. My parents have been taking me to West Virginia games since I was very young. I have many great relationships, both with my mom and my dad, at WVU sporting events, but definitely more so with my dad. We've been through the ups and the downs of many of years of WVU football. We talk about it constantly. I'm very proud and very happy to every single year that I was in college get to have at least one game spent at Milan Puskar Stadium with my dad while I was in college, and we've gone to many more ever since, but just to still have that memory, because you never know in this crazy world it is when you could be potentially your last day, or your last season. So to make every single moment count that you have with your loved ones is ever important. So we talk about it. And the other thing is WVU sports is such a family affair. probably for your family just as well as much, and if so, for my family. It's the first or thing, or one of the very first things that come out at just about every single family function. How do you think the Mountaineers are going to be this year in XYZ sport? That's kind of one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel, is just because I would have so many family and friends hitting me up about my thoughts on X, Y, and Z. So I was like, all right, well, let me make a YouTube channel so then like we can talk about this all the time. So, and because YouTube is so popular, this would be an outlet for me to give my thoughts, all things considered, as you know, on WVU athletics. So I just wanted to say, I'm not going to make this video all that long, is because you can, when you're raising a son, of course, you know, you can play football, you can, you know, boys have more of a propensity for athletics than girls, I would say, generally, not always across the board, but it's like, you know, the Hayden Panettiere character of in Remember the Titans. I forget the defensive coordinator's name off the top of my head, but like daughters like that who will sit down and watch film with them, go to practice, eat, sleep, breathe football, kind of the way, you know, that I do with college football, is rare. And to be honest with you, I would like to have that kind of relationship with my daughter that's different than that. That's, you know, diverse in many different aspects of life, to not necessarily have to be locked into sports. And if my wife and I so choose to you know, have another child and we happen to have a son, then great. Then I would consider like that type of relationship the same kind of way, of whatever that your kids have a propensity toward and want to pursue or like, to follow that. Now for me, it's not changing. Boy, girl, 20 kids, or just one. Like WVU football, watching on Saturdays, either in person or on TV, so on and so forth, is going to be a thing. So, like, it's either this child of mine is either going to adapt to that, or, and like enjoy that as well, participate. And that's what I mean to say is, if my little girl has I mean, like, we already have some outfits picked out that we're thinking, you know, or at least talking about getting, and, you know, probably not going to see her at any sort of tailgates or any games. Never know, but maybe but doubtful this year, perhaps in 2025. But even down the road, as she gets older, as she can start to walk and, you know, play and run and do all those kinds of things, like, I want her to experience WVU football, basketball, baseball, everything in between, in the same kind of form or fashion. So if you are a father or father figure to a little girl Mountaineer fan out there, what are some of the things that you do? What are the kind of experiences that you partake in? Is there anything that you potentially find attracts little girls to sports and, you know, sporting event? I know, and like doing it with my wife, like for her it's food. I mean, anytime we go to a Major League Baseball game, specifically the Pittsburgh Pirates, you know, we got to get some snacks. She enjoys being out at the ballpark and seeing the city, and, you know, of course, the fireworks, the pierogi races, so on and so forth. But actually the game being played, you know, she can take her leave. She's come to enjoy it a little bit more. Hockey's a lot more faster paced, so she likes that. Basketball, so on and so forth. Football has something that has to have been acquired. She didn't understand it, still doesn't necessarily understand strategy, but watching enough football that I am, you know, secondhand, that I am watching either in real time or in the past, like, she gets it. So that's kind of the same thing. I don't necessarily know if I'll ever be breaking down X's and O's with my future daughter and having these same kind of analytical conversations about defensive schemes, or how many plays you have to run over the course of a 60-minute game to accrue so many yards and points and et cetera, you know, like Texas Tech does. So that's what I'll kind of close with here as we round out about 10 minutes is I need some help. I need some help from Mountaineer Nation. What are some of the experiences that you have as a father or father figure for a little girl in your life? What are some of the best memories that you have both as well with your family? And what encouragement would you give to me as I pursue this new chapter in my life? So got a few names picked out. This is the ultrasound pictures from February when my wife met that threshold where she could get an ultrasound, and we're just about 2 months away from our little girl being born on September 4th. So terrible timing, I know. I hope you feel my pain on that. That who knows what I'm going to be able to do, and that's kind of what I'm going to reference in all my future videos as we get into more of looking ahead to this 2024 season and referencing it and talking about kind of the game day atmosphere, which I love to throw in as part of my analysis of videos. Is I don't know how many games, both home and away, that I'm going to be able to get to this year, but I'm super excited to be following the Mountaineers as always and bringing it to you. So I think either later this week or in the next week, I plan to do a video. Really excited to talk about the WVU defense and what we should see out of a scheme. The number one question, one of the top questions that I've had since the 2023 season ended. How does this scheme philosophy potentially change? Will it not change? And some of the personnel who are being involved. So tune in for that later that week. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, smash that like button. Love to have you as a subscriber for the rest of the as we look ahead into the 2024 season, and check out some of my other videos on my channel. So thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Let's go Mountaineers.